Tech it before you wreck it. What's up, geeks? And I've got a surprise package. Check this out from ASUS. They have sent me out a loaner device of the ROG Ally X, which isn't even out yet. They say this is actually an engineering sample of the device, so it's not 100% final hardware, but it's pretty close. Let's get this box open. They say this isn't a fully redesigned Ally. This isn't an Ally 2. This is the X model, because they basically say they took suggestions from users and made it better. So you've got double the capacity on the battery, 80 watt-hour battery. They say they doubled the capacity of the battery, but only increased the weight by 11.5%, which is a big deal. And I will say, on the first version, battery life was probably the biggest issue. Bigger storage, 1 terabyte of storage, and they say now the device is compatible with M.2 2280 drives. They say people wanted better expandability so they could increase the drive size, and so they're trying to give people that. They also are promising faster memory, 24 gigs, 16 gig for the system, 8 gigs for the GPU, and there it is. Looking pretty nice. I'll show you the power supply that they threw in the box here. I don't know if this is the one you're going to get if you buy this, but this is what they threw in the box for me. A very standard 65 watt power supply, a lot like the one that came with the original Ally. Okay, let's take a closer look at the device itself. And they say the joysticks are improved, tighter joysticks. They kind of look the same, but they say they're tighter than before and more responsive than before. They also say they upgraded the tactile feel of the D-pad. So that's going to look a little bit different, but on first look, you know, for most people, it'll look kind of the same. There's the joysticks we're talking about. Again, I don't think they look all that much different, but they do feel a touch tighter, and that's what they say they did. They tightened them up. That's the feedback they got from people. I want to take a look. Here's the bottom of the device. You know, it's blank, pretty much the same as before, but you'll notice the sides where you grip it, those are a little bit fatter, more ergonomic is what they say. They made this. On the top, big difference here, 2 USB-C ports instead of the expansion port they had before. They say that's what people asked for. You've got some indicator lights, you've got your volume up, you've got your volume down, you also have a headphone jack, a micro SD slot, and a power button. You'll also notice an additional cooling vent on the top, and they say they were able to increase airflow by 24% to try to keep the device cooler and also keep the touch screen cooler. So that's that third vent in the middle there, and you've got your existing vents that were there before on the left and the right. So here's the screen. The screen looks great. It doesn't look much different from the original, at least in my first kind of initial impressions here, but it looked good with the original Ally, and it looks good with the Ally X as well. Another change is on the back. Take a look at this, guys. They changed the macro buttons. If you remember before, they were much bigger, and they said people were hitting them by accident, and so they shrunk them down so people are less likely to hit those by accident. You've got your similar buttons on the top, though, similar design on the back as well. But again, the sides where you grip it, they feel fatter, and I'll show you that side by side with the original model in just a second. But it does feel more ergonomic, more grippy, which you know, I didn't hate the feeling of the previous model, but I can feel where they've modified this one, and I do kind of like it. All right, so here's the original Ally. I want to throw this kind of just right below it here so you can see they are very similar looking in terms of just the front of the device, the basic design of the controls, the basic look of the front. You can tell this isn't version 2, and this speaks volumes right here when they're side by side, but I will show you some of the differences. Now, the button layout is almost identical. The joystick, while it is modified, doesn't look all that much different, at least in my opinion, just on my first glance here. You can see the D-pad is different. It's more of a matte finish D-pad as opposed to the glossy finish of the previous model in white there. That's subtle, but you'll feel it when you use it. Take a look at the top here. This is the biggest difference here. See, the expansion port is gone, USB-C ports are in, and that additional cooling vent in the middle is added as well. So that's going to be a big change, and hopefully the cooling will make a difference to keep things kind of running better. Those bumper buttons look kind of the same on the top there. I didn't see much change there. On the back, I talked about those macro buttons, so I want to show you those side by side. The bigger macro buttons of the previous model on the bottom, and then the smaller macro buttons buttons. They are significantly smaller on the new model on the top, but the venting on the back looks the same. The design on the back looks the same. Another check at the top here, you can see that additional cooling vent in the top, and they really did have to redesign where all the ports are in the top of the device. The bottom, there's not much going on the bottom of the device. The first one's kind of the same as the second one. Let me put them side by side, do a little sandwich mode here, and it's hard to tell in the video, to be honest with you, but you can see it right there. The black one, the new one, has a little bit of a bulkier grip to it, and I'm not sure, maybe they use that to make room for the battery, or maybe that is just truly more of an ergonomic feel to it. So tough to put these, side by side and show you because there's such subtle differences, but hopefully you got a glimpse of kind of those subtle differences that do make a little bit of a difference when you're holding this. Just a quick check at the interface. I mean, listen, this thing runs Windows, it runs the ASUS software. It's very similar to what you've seen before. It feels snappy, it feels fast, as it should. I need to get some games loaded on here. I literally just opened this box for you. So once I can get some games loaded on here, I can do a better review, a better kind of full-on look at the new ASUS Ally X. But for now, that is your first look, your unboxing of an engineering model of the ASUS Ally X, the newest handheld gaming system from ASUS. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. A lot more videos coming. Let me know what you want to see in a full review of the new Ally X as well by throwing a comment below. Tech it before you wreck it. I'm Kirk.